Manchester City are under investigation, and the Premier League are focusing on underage players being pressured to sign contracts, cash coming from Sheikh Mansour rather than sponsors, and a fake contract for Roberto Mancini, as German outlets report on the inner goings on into the Premier League's investigation that could see Man City land themselves in a fair amount of trouble. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. We're going to break this down in more detail for you. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace. But this is big, big news. Der Spiegel, who are a very respectable German outlet, have stated that Man City have been forcing underage players to sign, cash coming from the Sheikh rather than sponsors, and a fake contract for Roberto Mancini. It goes on to say here that the German newspaper claimed to know details about the Premier League's 3-year-long investigation into Manchester City. And let's focus on that for a minute. This has been a 3-year-long. This goes back to 2019. The Premier League has been looking into the inner goings on and the finances of Manchester City Football Club. City were initially banned from the European competitions 2 years ago by UEFA and fined £25 million. Of course, they won their appeal in the Court of Arbitration for Sport based on the fact that some of the claims could not be established, and the fact that the claims they could establish and they had evidence for were time barred. The evidence was found too late. They had the evidence, they could prove it, but it was just time barred. And what's really intriguing here is looking at some of the things that they have manufactured and done wrong, or reportedly done wrong. The first of those is that underage players were allegedly pressured into signing contracts with Man City through monetary payments in violation to the rules. So essentially here, offering money to players and to families above and beyond market rates, outside of regulation, outside of the laws and rules of the game, to force these young players to come. Now, Man City have been lauded in recent times for the emergence of players like Phil Foden. They've got others on the way through now, through their academy, that look like absolute gems. But how are they able to bring them in? Did they do this by breaking the rules? That is what's being claimed by the German outlet towards Manchester City. What we also saw is, secondly, club sponsors in Abu Dhabi are suspected of having provided only a proportion of their payments to the club themselves, with the majority apparently coming from Sheikh Mansour himself. Now, why that's really key and needs to be focused on is the fact that Manchester City, to be able to compete with all the other big boys in Europe, because of FFP, they needed to be able to land huge sponsorship deals. And Gary Neville just the other day called them out and said there is no way with a fan base their size, domestically and internationally, that they could earn bigger sponsorship deals and earn more money than Real Madrid, than Barcelona, than Liverpool and Manchester United. A lot of people put that down to Gary Neville being bitter, but he's speaking facts. City have some sponsorship deals that generate more income than a club like Real Madrid, who sell on average 3 to 4 million shirts, additional shirts a year compared to Man City, meaning they have a global fan base that dwarfs them. In no other walk of life would a club have a fan base of, say, 4 million people buying merchandise versus a club with 1 million people buying merchandise, and sponsors throw more money at the smaller club. It's never happened before in the history of sponsorship deals. And they need this money, because without it, they can't afford the transfer fees. They can't afford the wages. They wouldn't have the squad of which that they have got. Interestingly, this echoes some stories that have come out in the last few weeks, detailed just here, that talk about Man United having a sponsor who seemingly have no staff, no active products, and are being run out of a mailbox in London. There's another sponsor. This was reported on the 6th of January. where the CEO is a member of the Man City board, is the chairman of the Man City board in Khalidou Al Mubarak. So these stories aren't new. This isn't just a flash in the pan news story that suggests the sponsors of Man City are hollow. Just two companies there we've mentioned that don't have products, that don't have services, that don't have offices, that don't have staff, that don't have bases, pumping millions of pounds a year into a football club. How does that make any sense? You only endorse and sponsor a football club for a return of investment, for those fans to see your company and to buy the product. Whether you sell wine, you're a watchmaker, a car manufacturer, an airline, the idea is that the fans of that football club are drawn to it by being your sponsor. And of course, that brand and logos are seen all around the world with a connection and involvement in Premier League and Champions League football. But if they're not real businesses, why would they be sponsoring them? What is the mileage? Is this within the rules? It is all being investigated as we say. Now, the third element that they're focused on is that Roberto Mancini, of course, the manager from 2009 to 2013, is thought to have received a significant proportion of his compensation secretly by way of a fictitious consultancy agreement. Now, what's very, very key to focus on here is why they would do that. Now, if this is indeed true, the reason for it would be a way of hiding money, hiding expenditure. Because, of course, under FFP, you have to make a certain, you can only lose a certain amount of money over a 2 to 3 year period to be able to compete within the European competitions. You can be banned from them. So looking at these three allegations within the overall report, it isn't good reading. Now, I will add that these are allegations right now. This hasn't been substantiated. We haven't had the official findings from the Premier League as of now. That's something we haven't seen. And Man City, I mean, they've been very open about this, Manchester City. They feel as though this is just an orchestrated attack from the same media outlet that tried to get them into trouble a couple of years ago. They believe that there is no wrongdoing. They believe that this is a witch hunt. And that's what I want to hear from you today. Do you feel that City are being hunted down by certain media outlets, by other clubs, by rival fans out of bitterness? Or do you believe that this is the absolute right thing to do? Do you believe that if they have been illegally inflating their income, illegally covering up expenditure, so they didn't break FFP rules, and so they were able to buy the squad they've got now? And this is the thing. Some of these things have been going on since way before Pep Guardiola arrived, but it is the butterfly effect. If these allegations of cheating, fraud, corruption are true, does that undermine everything that Pep Guardiola has achieved? Does that put an asterisk next to the league titles, the domestic treble, the Champions League final? Does it mean the Premier League, if they're found guilty, will remove these trophies? Will Man City's great run of the past decade or so be undone? If indeed this is proved to be accurate. Manchester City have a very loyal fan base. Manchester City have a fan base that have been through turmoil, many, many years of turmoil as a football club. And there's a part of me that was quite happy to see a working class club with a working class people treated well, generate success, and become a winning team. I myself have often praised how well, and still do, how well Man City run their club. And they do. They run their football club impeccably well. The money that has been invested into local communities, the jobs that have been created, the feel-good factor in the blue half of Manchester, Sheikh Mansour and his team have done a good job in that respect. They are held up as being one of the best teams in the world for how brilliant their signings have been. Each manager has taken them to the next level. They have been one of the most successful teams across Europe in the last decade or so. And right now they've generated a team under Pep Guardiola that is being talked about as being the greatest Premier League side team and maybe the greatest ever English team to play. And these are astounding achievements. These are historic, iconic, beautiful scenes for that football club and English football. But do you believe these accusations to be true? Do you believe that Manchester City have been falsifying their documentation? Do you believe that Manchester City have been using false and hollow sponsorship deals? What is your view? What is your opinion? I want to know now. This isn't good reading. The investigation, by all accounts, is still ongoing. But the findings have to be shared. We even need to all come together and defend Man City from this witch hunt, see the evidence, condone the witch hunt, and put it to bed, and congratulate Man City for going from being an also run in English football to being a European and global powerhouse. Or on the other side of the fence, if they have been cheating, serious punishment needs to be placed upon the football club. Medals, trophies, titles, records, scrapped. Surely, if they've cheated, none of the success can ever be celebrated. And Man City fans, I want to know how you feel about this revelation that's come out. Leave us your comments below, people. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.